Hi, I'm Erin,
And I'm Sue.
and we want to welcome you back to episode 23 of the Simply Us podcast. We are
Hi,
calling this
everyone.
we're calling this episode The
The
Struggle is
struggle is
Real
real.
because it is. We felt that
Yes.
so much this month. We're happy you guys are here. If you're just joining us or tuning in and you haven't listened to anything else we've done, we are the past 2 months and now this month going through Jess Connolly's book called Breaking Free of Body Shame. And during the past 2 months, and then now in this one, we've talked about our experiences with identifying wrong names we had about our bodies. And we've talked about the words that have been spoken over us by other people or maybe in ourselves that are not true and that are not kind and not at all what God intended for us to talk and believe about our bodies. And so when we have gone through and with our listeners and discovered these wrong names, these wrong beliefs that we've had from childhood or messages from the world or from our parents, we've said,
Well,
okay,
not this
God.
parent. Not this parent. Well, no, it's for real. The struggle's real, everyone.
We discovered where we picked them up and released them and released the wrong things and picked up things that are true and received the good. So if you want to check out the journey we've been on with discovering how we don't have to live with shame for our bodies, go back and listen to episode 21 and 23 of our podcast.
No, 22.
21
and 22.
Today's 21 and 22 of our podcast.
Yeah.
And you can hear more about that and check out the resources from those episodes. So this month, we want to talk about the two things that we feel like we learned and are actually, both my mom and I were like, gosh, we're so glad we reread these chapters now. And we did this Bible study probably this summer and it was amazing. But we're like, we really needed this refresher, especially, I don't know what it is as we approach the holiday season. Yeah. And I don't know about you, but I tend to get so triggered and spiral into terrible thought patterns around this time of year. Does that happen to you?
Yes, all the time. I think it's because we're making all those cookies and we're thinking about food a lot. And so then it just, old habits just,
we're back in our family of origin.
Yeah.
I feel like it's hard. So the first thing idea that we picked up from Jess's book is acknowledging the fact that our bodies are aging, they're growing. There isn't much we can do to stop the process of, getting older, looking different, getting smaller or bigger. She calls this, we are often thinking about beating the curse that our bodies aren't forever. And this came from, in this chapter we read from Genesis 3 and saying when Adam and Eve believed in things that weren't true and they committed sin, something that is not anything that's not how God intended it, they lost this intimacy with God and they had to leave paradise. And then there was all this, it led to one thing after another. There was death, there was generational sin and ongoing repercussions. And the curse of that is that we live now in this fallen world where things are not what God intended it to be. And this curse reminds us when we think about our bodies aging, our bodies growing, is that it was never intended to be this way. And the struggle is real. And that's why we named our episode this, but we are not alone in our struggle. And Jess continues to go on and say in these chapters that while you're doing whatever you do, remember in this moment to experience the presence of God in your weakness. When we're trying to not prove how strong we are, but we're comforted and almost surprised by the power of God in us as we are not trying to beat the curse, and prove something. So there's this release in the acknowledgement that I don't have to do this. I don't have to beat the curse. It's here anyway, but God is here too. Right. And our temptation, I think, is to try and beat the curse. And it's there for me. It's there for you. It's probably here for our listeners. It's about forgetting that end goal and remembering that true healing and restoration have been offered to us on the other side of eternity.
Right. Amen to that.
And then the second idea we really picked up from her chapters was, in these 2 chapters, I think they were 5 and 6.
Yeah.
Was she talked about resting from trying to beat the curse. And can we take and grab hold of rest from that pursuit of breaking the curse? And for me, I felt like when I read her this, I totally resonated with, I need to stop spending so much of my emotional time and energy on wanting to change my body. And instead, there's this beautiful call to care for our soul.
Right.
And I think that as beautiful as this time of year is, as we reflect and we wait, there's like this anticipation of Christmas and Jesus is coming. We can reflect on this beautiful story God has in front of us. But I know I find myself getting honestly sucked into thinking about my body and what people see when they look at me, and how am I going to come across if someone I haven't seen in 5 years, and that kind of junk is at the forefront of my mind, instead of like resting my soul.
Yeah. And I think it was interesting because, like you said, we just picked up the book after not looking at it for a few months as we're going through this. And unfortunately, I got caught up into a spiral. So I'm just going to tell you a story. I'm going to tell all you listeners out there, or those you that are watching, just like, I'm the living example of what striving looks like instead of resting. So Dad and I have this Christmas event coming up next week. And I've been on a mission to find a dress to wear to it. It's not often that you're going to see me in a dress, right, Erin? You don't see me. No. But I wanted to wear one because your dad loves me in a dress so much. I mean, he doesn't ask for much, but I do think he secretly would love me to greet him at the door in a dress and pearls every night when he comes home. And since that is never going to happen. No, a dress to our Christmas party is where it's at. So I began this dress hunt, and I'm cheap and I want to find a bargain. I know. And so I scoured the discount stores looking for that diamond in the rough, and I found it.
It takes a lot of effort.
It does.
And patience.
Yes. And I found it. At least I think I found it. So those of you who don't know me, like as well as Erin and, my other daughters do, I can be indecisive at times, especially when it comes to clothes.
Oh, the stories I would tell in dressing rooms.
Oh, I know, but we'll save that for another day. So I'll just try them on in the store and it can seem right. But when I get it, but then I'll get it home and I'll have to try it on at home, and I'll wear it around the house for a while just to see. And I have also been known to wear them out of the house with the tags tucked in just to make sure. So anyways, I found the dress. It's a green dress.
Hooray.
Perfect for a Christmas party, right? It was tight fitting, and so it seemed, in all the right places. At least that's what I thought in the poorly lit dressing room at Marshall's. I even thought it looked good in our poorly lit closet, because I think there's a couple light bulbs burnt out there. But anyways, I was turning this way and that, in the full length mirror, and I wasn't finding a flaw at all until I walked out of the closet and went into the bedroom where I have a bigger mirror, which is right by the window,
Yes.
And I had that good natural light coming in, and all of a sudden I started to notice stuff that I didn't notice before, like with my eyes, like looking downward, I could see a few ripples in the dress, like maybe 3 of them. And as I'm looking down and I examine them closer, like I'm in shock. I realized, you guys, that they weren't ripples in the dress, but they were rolls coming from my stomach. So I'm in utter shock, and I did a quick turn and I looked behind me in the mirror, only to discover, you guys, that my behind, like all of my behind, it looked like there were these bumps on the dress. Like, and I would try, I'm trying to flatten it out with my hand, but they wouldn't lay flat. So then I looked down and I discovered, much to my surprise, that it wasn't the dress at all, but it was my skin underneath, like kind of resembled like cottage cheese, if you know what I mean. Yeah.
Which is a delicious snack.
Yes, but not in my booty. So this is what I decide you do, you guys. Now, remember, I'm cheap. So I order the Walmart version of Spanx, not just 1 pair, but 6 pairs. Now, before you guys think I'm like extremely obsessive, I want you to know that I only ordered 2 pairs at a time. So the first 2 came, and when I got them, they were so big. I mean, they were only supposed to go like to, here. They're only supposed to go like to here. Like, I don't know if you can even see me. They're only supposed to go like to here, but they went way up to here.
Some of them are supposed to do that.
Oh, but this was supposed to be a high-waisted one, not like
Okay. That's
not
what they
that
were meant
high
for.
up. No. So then I ordered 2 more, a bit smaller, but they really had the same outcome. They were still like maybe just a little bit lower, but so then I ordered two more in different sizes and different styles. So I was giving it a different Scott style. So when I put them on, they were so tight that I fell over, and I had to, oh my goodness, I don't understand how people do that.
And I swear they get tighter as the night goes on.
Oh,
you're
my
like,
goodness.
I can do this. And then halfway through your night, you're like, I have got to get out of these.
Oh my gosh. Well, I could barely get into them. So there I am laying on the floor in the closet, and I'm like wiggling, trying to get them. So I finally get my self back up. As I'm coming back up, it hits me like, Sue, like, what are you doing? Like,
oh, light bulb moment.
Yes, you are obsessing. You are completely falling into your old patterns, your old way of thinking. And you guys, I knew it was Jesus, his voice in my mind so clearly speaking to me. And so I just sat on the closet floor, and I was already in the posture to listen, right? I mean, I was physically in the position. I just had to like get my mind, like I just focus on Jesus.
I love that you stopped right there and then. Because I think we feel like, oh, I don't have my journal out. I can't really, like, this isn't the time or place to hear from God. And it's like, no, in this moment, it's a good, quick, you can do it quick too.
Right. That's a really good thought. Thanks for saying that. Because like I said, I was already down there. So all I had to do is get my mind to turn and focus on him. And so I really felt like Jesus was saying to me, like, look at your posture. This whole time with this green dress, your head is down, and you're looking at what you decided your flaws are about your body, your rolls, your booty. You're trying to cover them up. Sue, why?
Yeah.
So go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I was just going to say, let's give a little amen to that. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. I'm proud of myself too. So I'm covering. So I was just like, oh, wow, Jesus, I'm covering them up because I'm believing that lie again, that I'm not good enough to wear this dress because my body's not perfect the way it is. So I'm conforming to my old way of thinking. I feel shame, and I'm trying to squeeze into the green dress to feel better about myself. Well, really squeeze into the, well, I call them girdles, you call them Spanx. So I just got right up off the floor. I picked up that whole plethora of Spanx girdles, squeezed them. And I'm not kidding. When you all get that stuff, it's in these little bit, and I'm trying to squeeze and put them all back into the original
6 pairs.
Yes. And I took them downstairs, and I put them right by the back door to go out to be returned.
Yay. Woo! Good for you.
Yes. And I just think from there, I did. So I had that aha moment right then. But later on, when I had time, I did come back up here to my office, and I just sat with Jesus, and I talked to him about it, because I mean, I can't be alone in saying the struggle is real. I mean, it is real, people. So why was I making this so much harder than it had to be? It's just so natural to slip back into striving and live in shame. But when we realize we're conforming, we can confess it and ask Jesus for a new way to think. So that's what I did in this space. I mean, I heard from him clearly, like, stop it. And I stopped it. But then I came back up, and I wanted to talk to him and ask him to give me a new way to think. I needed to be reminded. And I love that God has had this truth bubble up for me. When you and I, Erin, when we talk together, because since I'm an outward processor, I've been realizing how often, as I talk things out with my people, a truth from God will become clearer and sharper in my mind. So this is the truth that God gave us together. And it's from 2 Corinthians 4:16 through 18. It says this: therefore, we do not lose heart, though outwardly we are wasting away. Yet inwardly we are being renewed day by day, for our light and momentary troubles are achieving for us an eternal glory that far outweighs them all. So we fix our eyes not on what is seen, but on what is unseen, since what is seen is temporary, but what is unseen is eternal.
Mm-hmm.
So the truth, my body is wasting away, no doubt about it. But from the moment Eve ate the fruit, the curse had been set into motion. So everything on this earth, you guys, is wasting away. And we all know that the enemy is behind it all.
Mm-hmm.
But Jesus died for our striving, for our freedom, actually. And for me, it was this striving.
Mm-hmm.
I can't break the curse, like we've already said. These bodies won't be perfect until we meet Jesus face to face, which means it will always be in a compromised state. Our bodies will always be in a compromised state. But our souls, that's a different story.
Yes. Our souls, it's like the most precious gift we have.
Yep. So inwardly, where my spirit and his spirit are connected, I'm being renewed every day. My eyes, they had been looking downward onto what I could see, my body. And as a result, I fell into those cursed old patterns, forgetting his promise to me, to all of us, that when we set our eyes onto what is unseen, Jesus, he will help us create a new pathway, a new way to see.
Yeah. And it's almost like he'll remind us, because we learned that this summer. And then here we are, December, relearning it. Maybe a little quicker.
Yes.
A little quicker.
Yeah.
We
I'd
still
like
count
to
it as
think
a
that.
victory. We still count it as a victory. Yeah.
Yeah. So what was my new way to think then? That silly dress situation. I mean, I make light of it, but it was only a light and momentary trouble. And I was determined to just not lose heart in it.
No.
And so, you know what I decided to do? I decided to return the green dress and find one that would complement this beautiful body that God gave me. And that would, and actually, I wanted a dress that would accessorize the radiant inner beauty that I've already been cultivating with Jesus as I've spent time in his presence.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you guys, I did find a dress, and it's a red dress, and you better believe. What?
Yes, you love red. That's your color.
I know it is. And I have it in my house, and the bright red, not the burgundy, the bright red.
Yes.
So, and you better believe that when I put that dress on, you guys, my gaze is fixed upward, you know, and when I look in the mirror, this might seem corny to you, but when I look in the mirror, I see his spirit looking back at me, smiling, like a joy-filled smile, because I finally got it. I learned a new way. And I just am so thankful. So that's what's been going in my world lately. How about you, Erin? Would you want to share with all of us, like, how has the struggle been for you?
It's been real.
Okay.
It's been real. And at this moment in this time, as I go through, I had been feeling defeated. A few months ago, I had been feeling so much freedom and was like, yes, my body's good and I'm good and it was made that way and I'm going to embrace it no matter what it looks like. But then all of a sudden the stress of life is getting hard. There's a whole bunch of different factors, but I felt myself falling into those old patterns. And as we started preparing and we're looking back at the journals and things we wrote as we went through this content the first time, during this session, we'd been asking God to bring to our minds exactly the things we needed to rest from. Right. And at that time, God had given me this really small list of practical things to do. And I kind of was like, oh, have I really done those? Again, that defeat. It's, if I'm really honest, I had done a few of them, but I had thought in my head 5 months ago, if I have completed these things God gave me to do, would I be rewarded with the physical results I wanted to see? Like, if I have done the inner work, will I receive this gift of outer work? And I don't look any different. In fact, my pants feel a little tighter. Lame.
It's okay.
I know. Well, I was still in my head pursuing a better body. And when I shifted my perspective yet again, because I don't think this is like a one and done kind of thing.
It's not until we see Jesus.
No, there's no curse to beat. I'm never gonna be perfect at this too. My body's never gonna be perfect, and my soul and mind is gonna need readjusting too. But I really started to take back and look. I'm like, okay, God, how have you been working? I've obviously not seen the physical results I wanted, but I did begin to realize that I had made some progress in these unexpected soul ways.
Cool.
And God had asked me, like, take joy in moving your body. He had, and these are just for me. He might tell you guys to rest from things because I love to move my body, but it always was like because I needed to get smaller. Or
Right.
because I ate too
Yeah.
many candies.
Yeah.
And God was saying like enjoy doing it. Do things you
Yeah.
enjoy, not because he had said don't be so strict and rigid around preparing your food or eating your food. Enjoy your food. And I think for me, like I think I have some eating things I have to work out, and I think the rigidity for me was not going to be
Yeah.
beneficial. And he
Yeah.
told me take care of yourself because it gives you energy. Don't take care of yourself to punish yourself. And then he
Wow.
told me wear clothes that fit you. So I stand agree, clothes that you like, not clothes that you
Yes.
feel pressure to wear, not clothes that
Right.
feel like, you're trying to stay on trend. Be comfortable. And it seems so matter of fact and easy, but all of these really cool soul things as I reflected back started to happen. And what I
Hmm.
was going to share a few of them with you because it was like, oh God, you really knew what I needed. It was like
Yeah.
I started doing early morning walks with a friend, which
Hmm.
was so good for my soul. I'm like
Yeah.
a relational queen, and it was so good for me both mentally and physically to begin my day connecting with a friend, no kids involved, waking up
Hmm.
early. I was so productive the rest of the day, and I got some steps in and had this amazing conversation. And
Mm.
and that was so good for my soul. And I started inviting my kids into like preparing food and snacks and thinking like, okay, Freddie, when we cut this cheese, this is a good source of fat. And our cut
Ah,
the cheese. Sorry.
I'm sorry, everybody. I have a childlike humor.
When we would be
Oh,
cutting
okay.
cutting
Cut
sharp
the
cheddar
fruit.
cheese.
There we go.
And I
Oh, I'm
said, this
sorry,
is a
Erin.
good source of fat to go with our apple. That's a fiber.
True
And
that.
these things
Yes.
are
Hmm.
so good. And that was good for my soul and my
Yeah.
relationship with my child. And hopefully I'm
Yeah.
sowing these generational seeds that'll be beautiful. And I
Yeah.
needed that. And I ended up too, I was down this like, I would be thinking like, gosh, I don't know enough about nutrition. Like, I bet there's
Hmm.
so many, I love to learn, I love to read. So I reached out to these old friends that I know love nutrition. And
Oh, cool.
I said, can you teach me like my vulnerability and honesty to be like, I've only ever known food, how to diet and food. I have never really
Hmm.
explored the beautiful things about food, and I want to learn about that. So that was good for my soul. It was a
Yeah. And
relational
you know what,
connection.
Erin? It's so good too, because we always teach that we need to be vulnerable and honest with God. But there's something too about being vulnerable and honest with each other, right?
Yes.
And to say, like, to lay down pride or to lay down
Yes.
self-righteousness and say, I want to learn a new way. And
Right.
God can use people in our lives to teach us the new way.
Yeah.
So I
And
love that you did
well,
that.
and I think before I would have felt shame, like I should know this already. Or
Yeah.
like, and now it's like, okay, there's things I don't know. There are a lot of things I do
Yeah.
know, but there's things I don't know and I want to learn. And I needed that. And
Yeah.
I went through my closet. It has shrunk dramatically because it's the worst. I'm like, I am not wearing clothes that don't fit and feel tight and I'm uncomfortable. And now
Yeah.
I'm reaching for things that feel comfortable and I'm stretching my creativity. I love to get dressed. So I'm stretching my creativity when it comes to what I put on my body and
That's
out
so
with the
good.
old and in with the new, but it's still kind of old because I don't have a budget to get
To
all
get
new.
out. Yeah.
But it
But I
feels
love
good.
that. Yeah. And thanks for sharing that too, because I'm reminded that we are always like, when before I would always be so anxious to get rid of my clothes when I was little, when I got tinier and I was
Yeah.
believing the lies, right? But there's something for me too that um when we're willing to say, I'm going to have in my closet the things that make me feel good, because God says my body is good,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm going to wear what feels good. And I'm
Right.
not going to be bogged down by the size of it. Like, I'm
Right.
not going to believe that lie that a size defines me,
No.
So I
Yes.
love that you're saying that, because I hope that you out there listening will hear what we're saying. Your
Mm-hmm.
body is good, and we want you to just feel good in what you wear,
Right.
because it's not so much about our bodies as it is our soul.
Right.
Is that what, am I
Yes.
making sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, and I was doing this little yoga. I like to do these
Hmm.
videos in the morning and
Hmm.
it's good for my mental and it's good for my physical part of my body.
Hmm.
And um the the instructor said, where we give our intention, we give our power. And all of a sudden it
Hmm.
was like in the end of the practice, and all of a sudden I was like, oh, that's what we're learning. It's like I have been getting so much of my mental, physical, emotional energy into making myself look different, or hiding because I was scared people would, like, that's where my emotional energy was going. And
That's
instead, I
good.
think God is inviting us to rest from that pursuit. Don't give that my power. Don't give it the energy. Like, where I need to find that rest, and that where I need to focus my attention is in rest, like resting from that. And
Right.
it wasn't working, giving all my attention and energy to my changing my body. And
Right.
but it was really like God saying, Erin, I'm inviting you to rest from this pursuit, and instead turn myself inward toward him and find that really good rest that I
Rest.
deserve
Yeah.
and he wants to offer.
And I just think we should all stop and celebrate Aaron, because you did, like the enemy's trying to get you to believe you failed and you feel
Right.
defeated. And then
Yes.
no, when you go to God and ask for his perspective, he brings these things to your mind that you have done
Yes.
with him. And
Mm-hmm.
it's caused you to be able to rest from the gerbil wheel we always talk about that we're
Right.
on.
Yes.
Yeah. So I love that. And I think that's
Thanks.
important for us, because for the rest of us, because when we let go of the striving and pick up rest is going to look different for each and every one of us.
Yes,
So
it
don't even
is.
compare yourself to Aaron
Don't.
or myself. Go to God and ask him
Yes. And
what
well,
it
we're gonna
is.
do that right now.
Yeah. Okay, let's do
So
it.
we're gonna do a little prayer. You guys, I'm making this one so quick and
Mhm.
questions, and you're gonna be super practical, because God gave me some really practical things to do and ways to rest and stop striving. And so I want to just do a quick prayer with you. And I want to remind you, if you haven't listened to any of our like prayer parts before, I'm just going to say a series of questions, and I want you to either write down if you can, or say aloud those first thoughts that come to your mind, because we are equipped with the Holy Spirit who helps us communicate and connect with God. And I ask myself, I like write it down, and I'm like, is this kind? Is this true? Does this sound like
Mhm.
something Jesus would have said? Like, when
Mhm.
those are where I go. And if it's yes, I know this is from God. And many of these questions that I'm going to go through are inspired from Jess Connolly's book, Breaking Free of Body Shame, and her Bible study guide. This was so helpful to us. And
Yes.
I'm going to link all her stuff in our show notes. If you want our show notes, just send us a DM or reply to any of our social medias. Text us if you have our numbers, and we'll email you a copy. So let's go
Sounds
ahead and
good.
pray now. Um, and I'll just lead you through it. I'll leave a little space, and you can always come back to this if you don't have time now. Okay,
Okay.
God, would you help us to be real and to be vulnerable with you and ourselves? And I pray that our minds and the things you're already going to communicate to us wouldn't be filled with shame, but instead filled with kindness for ourselves. And I pray that you would give us practical ways we can begin resting. And God, what do you want us to know about our bodies right now? Whatever comes to your mind, write it down. God, would you bring to our minds any wrong beliefs or things that are not true about us that we are believing as true? And we just want to release those to you, God. Those things that are untrue. Just imagine yourself as you write them on a paper, they lift off the paper and go right to God. Jesus died because he wants to take those untrue things from you. And God, would you put into our minds what are ways we can rest from pursuing a better body? What does that look like for these individual listeners praying right now? Would you give them one or two practical things that they can release, and show them how they can do that, God? If you're feeling any hesitancy right now, or you've got a blank mind, or you're feeling yourself not be able to write something down, take some time, get curious, ask God, why am I feeling this way? What do you want me to know? Maybe it's you need to stop and forgive yourself, or forgive God, or forgive someone that's in your past who's been real and who's had a huge impact on the way you view your body. You can stop now and pause us and journal and ask God about that. Let's ask God one more time. What are some practical ways you can rest your body physically, mentally, and maybe spiritually?
Mhm.
God, would you give us some hope? Can you give us a picture of what our souls might look like if we participate in the rest you have provided? Would you give us a picture, some really clear words, an old song, something beautiful that we can hold on to as we let go of the pursuit of a better body and move our energy towards a more beautiful soul?
Hmm.
We trust you. We believe you when you call us good. And we believe and expectantly hope for that inner glow that makes us feel beautiful.
Hmm.
In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Do you have any
Wow.
insights, Mom? I didn't
Yes.
really get a chance to do it myself, but
Yeah, no, I did. It's interesting because I think the lie I believed was in the green dress, I was flawed.
Mm,
And I felt like God was just saying to me, honey, you're free to be like free. And you were beautiful in the green dress.
mm,
But because so no matter what you wear, he says I'm
yeah,
beautiful. But
right.
it's interesting because the red dress is the one, I'm excited to wear this week. There is a song that is from my growing up years, and it's called Lady in Red. Lady in Red
I think I know what you're talking
is
about. Yeah.
dancing with me cheek to
Yeah.
cheek, and that song just was going through my mind as you were asking. You even asked, I think, for a song, something that will make us feel beautiful. And I thought, wow, like this is a beautiful picture. If I'm free to be me, he doesn't care what dress. He wants me to be so connected with him that I'm
Mm-hmm.
free to be me, dancing and swirling with him. And then it's
Mm,
almost like I felt like this was a love song that he was singing, like Lady in Red. And I wrote down some of that. I was trying to remember the lines,
lyrics.
the lyrics. Thank you. It's just you and me. It's where I want to be. And he says something about this beauty beside me.
Hmm.
Because I was like, I'll never forget the way you look tonight.
Yeah.
I've never seen you shine so bright. It's like,
Yes.
and I just like, so that I can't wait to listen to it now.
Yeah.
And just listen to all the words, just those lyrics are kind of coming
Yes.
to my mind. But I really feel like God is singing a love song. Like when we are soul tied with him and
Mm-hmm.
not soul tied with our lies or the flaws, we are just like in the flow dancing with him. Yeah.
Yes.
And our beauty will shine so bright,
Right.
will be attractional to others. And it will give us an opportunity to say, it's not, it's not me,
Yeah.
it's all him. It's all
It's
him. I
him.
keep looking up and it's him. So, woo, that's
Mm.
powerful. I'm excited. Thank you, God, for
Yeah.
that.
Well, thanks
Yeah.
for your sharing. That's
Yeah.
awesome. I'm gonna have to do it to myself because I didn't do it when I wrote it. But
Yeah,
I'm gonna
no.
have to do it to myself and see if anything comes up and out. But
Yeah.
we
And then you
wanted
can
to
tell me offline.
I'll tell you, or maybe I'll post a reel about it or something.
Oh, there you go. That'd be good. Yeah.
Oh, but we
Okay.
thank you guys for joining us. And
Yeah.
we're gonna have show notes. I'll probably even click, and last time we just put the prayer. If you want to repeat this prayer or go back and find it, we'll link just this prayer portion to our YouTube page so you can come back and hopefully it'll be a useful tool to
Yeah.
you. But if
Yeah,
you
that'd be a
need
good
anything,
idea.
if you want our show notes, we
Mhm.
can get those emailed directly to you. So reach out
Yeah.
to us here on our website or on any of our social media platforms. And again, if you just want to share with us something God spoke over you or an insight that you had, we love to hear it. It
Or a
brings us,
struggle that you had.
yes. and
Yeah,
you're
we would
wanting
love
it to
to.
come out. I've had a
Right.
couple of friends reach out, and it's so beautiful to see how God is at work in your hearts and your minds.
Yeah.
And fun and exciting to hear about it.
And
So,
we'd love to pray for you too. So, I mean, I
that's a
will
good,
love to
yes,
pray for you. If the
yes,
struggle is real for you and it's hard and you're having a hard time, getting that freedom, let us know and we'll
yeah.
pray.
We will. We'd love to do that.
Mhm.
And we look forward to
Mhm.
seeing you guys next month. I think we're going to talk about your body's not a trophy. So,
Oh,
isn't
good.
it? I'm pretty sure the next two chapters are like your body's not a prize, your body's not a trophy. So I'm
Okay.
excited to dig into those again myself and share what we learn with you all. So thank you
Yeah.
so much for listening.
Okay. Bye, everyone. Merry
Bye.
Christmas.
I think if you leave, it might say save. Press leave. It might say save to.
Okay. Because I clicked stop recording,
Oh, you did, but it's still
but should
recording.
I say end? So I'll
Mm-hmm.
just press end. It just says leave meeting.
Okay.
I want to save it to the cloud.
If you
Should I
press
just
stop
end?
recording, yeah, because we can re-record it if we need to and come out a
Just,
day late.
or
I
should
think
I
if
run
you
down
press
and
leave, I mean, you can run down and ask. Let me Google it really quick.
I'll assess that. Okay, he says just leave the meeting.
Okay, so you leave it. Me leave it or you?
Assign and leave.
I'll leave.
Okay, just you leave.